eligibility kind of criteria is you had to have made less than $40,000 on your art sales. So kind of your gross sales in art has to be less than 40 grand a year. You're a Denver Metro resident. You have a desire to kind of, see how your creative practice can become kind of a self-sustaining career. And you're not currently enrolled in an undergraduate or graduate program. Here's a little bit of the selection criteria. Does the artist have a unique vision and style? Has the artist achieved mastery in their own medium and the ability to convey their vision? Can the artist communicate the art's value compellingly? And can the fellowship help the artist become financially self-supporting? Alex or Hannah, do you want to share a little bit about your kind of thinking around this criteria and how you define some of these terms?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, yeah, it's pretty, we don't have, I want to say it's like pretty fluid or pretty open. I mean, we really just want to see like a dedication to your practice, and we want to see like a level of mastery or like a level of experience that's like, you're confident in your medium and what you're using, and your ability to use your medium to convey like a message or vision that you have. What that vision is very open-ended, so we don't have any requirements in terms of that or anything that we're looking for specifically. But yeah, we definitely want to see sort of like a cohesive body of work too. I think we're asking for 10 samples, 10 art images, videos, whatever you want to submit, whatever form you want to submit it in. Yeah, that's sort of the gist of it. Alex, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I would add that, I think we'll accept various kinds of mediums of art. And then, point 3, can the artist communicate the art's value compellingly? To me, points 3 and 4 are really about, lots of people make beautiful, pretty things that have meaning, but if we just do it in a vacuum in our room and nobody can see it or understand it or feel anything about it because it can't be connected to the artist or what they're thinking, then it's sort of limiting on how far it's going to go. And so we want to see also that people can explain in their artist statement, why does this matter? Why is it meaningful? And make it feel exciting, or really share wherever you're coming from. And that kind of touches into point 4, which is, if someone just wants to make art and isn't interested at all in like trying to figure out how to sell art or make, a financial self-supporting out of the year of the fellowship, then, we're probably not going to be that helpful in terms of what the fellowship is trying to offer, and probably not a good use of everyone's time. So people that are genuinely interested to try to like really grow their art practice if measured by dollars of income is important as well.
Cool. Here you'll see just kind of the timeline for the application and jury and award process. So, we obviously are currently at the virtual information session. The application closes on August 30th at 11:59 p.m. Our jury review process will be the month of September, and then you'll get a notification for an interview or a declination letter around October 10th. If for some reason the sky falls down on October 10th and you don't get a notification on that day, don't worry, it's coming, it will come. So sometimes jury review processes can be unruly. So granted, I think Hannah and Alex are gonna be pretty easy, but just to give you all a heads up, don't panic. I will then be reaching out to schedule interviews from the 11th through the 17th. where, you know, really the nature of the interview is, and really Hannah and Alex, feel free to jump in here, just to really get to know you more, to know your kind of studio practice, what your goals are with your work right now, you know, where you're trying to go with it. And this is really can be self-defined and self-determined. You know, this is not a fellowship that's trying to tell you what you need to be doing in the studio. Just trying to figure out if the fellowship aligns and can be supportive to how you kind of are measuring or thinking about what success looks like. You'll get the notification of the award in November. And then, you know, the fellowship has a duration of a 12-month cycle. And so you'll be invited to have a final exhibition either at Redline or in another location, depending upon your scope's need. You know, many creative practices, oftentimes, you know, a space like Redline may not be the most appropriate space for it to land. It could be an outdoor installation. It could be in a theater. It could have a lot of landing spots, but just, you know, there is a hope to have kind of a culminating fellowship opportunity. And I think, you know, based on my discussions with Alex and Hannah, this is something that can really be collaboratively considered throughout the fellowship process and your goals.
And I would just add one that I don't think it's been said yet, but there'll be at least 3 fellowships given out this year, potentially more, but for sure at least 3. And and the jury, if you're wondering, is Hannah and myself. So you're speaking to the jury today.
Which, thank you, that total transparency. So now you know who to email, guys. Just kidding. I promise I will not let them know your home addresses. Okay, let's see. We're going to head on to the next one. So the fellowship will be dispersed in payments, and it's kind of follows a quarterly schedule. So you'll get your first payment in November, the second payment in February, the third payment in May, and the last payment in August. You know, this payment schedule has a couple different reasons. One is, of course, to like break up the tax burden. Also, you know, if you have concerns about that and you want to talk about like a fiscal sponsorship, and so that, you know, you don't have to take in the entire income, but it can be, you know, material reimbursements or things like that, I can talk about that with you. It's something that we do a lot at Redline. If it's going to help kind of, again, the tax burden that could be, you know, hitting your account with $28,000 all at once. Also, this is just a way to, you know, kind of create a schedule for the fellowship to build kind of goals and check in. So there's going to be just quarterly check-ins to see how things are going, seeing if you have access to the resources that you're seeking in terms of, again, building steps towards a self-sustaining practice. But Alex or Hannah, do you have anything else you want to share on the schedule?
The other aspect that I would add is that it was mentioned in an earlier slide that there'll be studio space provided. I know some of you maybe already have studio space, or maybe some of you will be part of Redline's separate program, which provides studio space. And so in that case, the money that would have gone towards studio space is additional to the 28,000 can be reimbursed for things like art supplies or other work-related expenses, but that'll be more on a case-by-case basis.
Which, yeah, we're gonna, not only is this being recorded, thankfully, because Alex reminded me, but also we'll have an FAQ. So, you know, if you kind of are furiously trying to take notes and miss some of this, we'll have it back up on the website with this video also. Okie dokie. Yeah, so just again, kind of revisiting what as a fellow, what you can kind of anticipate. You know, a lot of this was kind of building off of the infrastructure of Redline's residency and what you could tap into. So though it's a different program, you'll still kind of be pulled into and embraced by this current residency community, and also kind of a larger arts community that Redline connects with. And so again, hopefully through kind of the discussion with the fellowship cohort, whether it's 3 or 4 artists, kind of talking about those different opportunities that Redline provides artists, but then also talking about other interests you may have in growing your, growing towards your goals of being financially sustainable. Something that, of course, we do on a monthly basis is setting up different studio visits to create greater visibility for your practice. Alex has offered financial planning support. Participation in monthly talks, which we do with different arts organizations that also have different opportunities for artists. And then, kind of getting connected to this network of affordable studio space. So the fellowship requirements are, like I said, the final exhibition or project, or, depending upon what your practice looks like, what that final outcome is of your fellowship is something that we'll discuss with each artist. The quarterly check-ins, a final report, which, I think we're still kind of talking through what this will include, but, it's not going to be very extensive, but we'll probably, go hand in hand with your final kind of work, whether it's installation or exhibit or film or project or whatever, will be part of that, kind of final reporting package. And then one of the things Alex and Hannah wanted to create as kind of a legacy of the fellowship is kind of something that could be left behind for the artists for a fellowship collection and archive, so that folks who are interested in knowing who the fellows were and the type of work they do, there would be an archive and a trace to learn more. But this is also something that we'll discuss with the cohort and develop in this first year. And Alex and Hannah, just anytime you want to jump in, let me know if there's anything you want to add.
No, I think, we'll provide more specificity on what the collection contribution looks like, so it's not so vague and open-ended. And we need to do a little bit more to define that, but we will.
Okie dokie. So this is obviously the contact information for the Greene Fellowship, which, there is also a website for the Greene Fellowship. Here is Alex and Hannah's contact information. You can, of course, contact me as well if you have questions that you want to throw my way. I'll throw my email in the chat. And you're, of course, welcome to kind of set up a meeting too. And now and it looks like we have questions coming in, but I do welcome folks to, raise their hand or unmic and ask questions. And I see Anna Maria, thank you. Regardless of getting the fellowship, we would all benefit from financial advice and strategies to succeed. This is true. I'm not an artist, but I 100% need that also. But does anyone have any questions? I'm gonna stop sharing here so I can see you all if there are questions. Yes, Adon, it is possible to have a PDF. So submittable is pretty good with the size amounts, and I can even look on the back end of that to see if we can increase that limitation for, especially for film and video work. So I did not realize, I thought I chose all formats are allowed, so I'll definitely look into that tonight. Reagan, as far as your question in terms of where's the studio located, it really will depend upon the satellite space inventory and what's available. So as we get different satellite spaces online, you know, based on the fellow and their needs, I'll just kind of have that discussion with you in relationship to kind of what you're looking for and where you're located. Yes, Lori, if I am not incorrect, we're going to do this first year, and then the idea is for the fellowship to continue. And we just hope that this continues to be an opportunity that doesn't go away, but is offered on an ongoing basis. But Alex and Hannah, is that right? Hopefully.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, Caitlin, as far as your question, can you elaborate on the artist statement? Is it a statement about work only, or can it include intent and desire? Yeah, I think you can include intent and desire in this. I think what you should just remember is don't try to stuff everything into the artist statement. I would say that it's a way to, so if you're submitting images, have the artist statement help us with the images, because I think during the interview, we're going to get to learn more about your intent. So I would say that, you know, make sure that your images and your artist statement, you know, work together, because that's the only thing we'll be able to see at that beginning stage.
The next one I think I can take.
Please.
It's
I read that. I'm like, Alex, go.
yeah. So actually, I did like one of the monthly expert talks. I'm not sure exactly what Louise calls them, with some
Industry talks. Yeah.
industry talks. So before I was running this fund, I used to do business consulting for startups and like large, Fortune 500 companies. And so I intend to teach a monthly course on basically different aspects of developing a business, from like, what's the problem you're solving, or what's, in the case of an artist, that needs to be translated a little bit, but like, what are you trying to express, or what are you trying to create in the world? And then questions like, how do you get that to people? How do you identify who's the buyer? How do you make a budget? Basic things like that. And so there'll be at least a monthly session on that. And hopefully, and then it'll only be 3 people or for a couple people. And so hopefully there'll be more bespoke help for, maybe one person's like, I'm trying to figure out how to get Instagram a better following, or different kind of strategy-based questions that could be more bespoke as well. So, and in terms of what the goal is, I mean, for me, the goal is, the idea of the fellowship is that you can focus on your art full time for a year, instead of having to work some, junky side job, or doing whatever it is that it takes to get through the day. And so to me, my metric I'm measuring is how much more income can the artists we work with create, and how many more full-time artists can we create over time, that, for 1 year they have kind of a bridge to become full-time, and then after that they're able to be full-time on their own work independently. And so that's how I measure it. I don't know, Hannah, if you have anything to add to that.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, no, like, the career of an artist is not, this, sometimes it's not linear, and it's not just like always a upward trajectory. So yeah, in terms of metrics, I don't know exactly, like, I don't think we have anything set in stone specifically, but I mean, like Alex said, we really do want to provide support for the artists for like a full year, so that they don't have to work at another job, and can fully focus on their art practice. And hopefully, as we see this fellowship grow over the years, we can like kind of see how that support is helping artists in the community, and just see how it goes. But yeah, that's all I have to add.
And then maybe it's a good segue to Jonah's question about, is it okay to have a job simultaneously? I think, this first round of applications will be basically looking at people's art as the primary decision-making factor. And then we'll select 10 people for a second round interview. And then at that point, it can be flexible. I mean, if someone's like working at JP Morgan on the side, I think they probably don't need this fellowship. But I think if, each person's situation is different, and I don't want to disqualify anybody by saying, no, you can't have a job. But the idea is that people can focus full time on their artwork. And that it's okay to state our intentions and how this would impact our career. It's okay with me. And then, yeah, I don't know.
Oh,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
go ahead. Just as far as the development emerging versus experience, I do think that, when an artist is kind of in this place of kind of being at that tipping point for self-sustaining, I think more experience is probably an appropriate place. But I feel like, again, since categories can be oftentimes confusing and exclusionary, I would say just apply. Whether you are thinking of yourself as an emerging artist, or whether you're thinking of yourself as a more experienced artist, I don't think Hannah and Alex have, really tight and hard and fast definitions of this. So, if you need support in your practice and you're looking to kind of, be more self-sustaining and to better your work, I think that makes you eligible. I agree if you're working on Wall Street and have like an enormous studio, and this is like, yeah, I would probably consider those things. But yeah.
Yeah, and I just said, I mean, in a sense, I hope we're all, emerging till the day we die, in a sense. And I'd say, like, if you qualify, which means you're making less than 40,000 a year from your art, like, and you have, the attitude that you want to grow your business, and you're open to like working together, then that's qualifying to me. If you're so experienced that you know it all and you don't need any help from anybody, then we're probably not going to be that helpful to you. I see Garrett and Lori have their hands up. So
thank you. Appreciate it. It's only so many humans I can see on the screen, so appreciate the help there, Don. Lori, do you want to go first?
Sure. Actually, I mean, hi, Hannah and Alex. Alex, you kind of answered it already, but I kind of wanted to like ask more about sort of like the idea of the sort of bespoke, creating sort of what you want to learn. I'm wondering if there's going to be like any opportunities for sort of coaching into possible directions and like helping make decisions about next moves, for example. Like kind of, I don't know, kind of the way that almost like kind of like an agent would be like, oh, this is a good direction for you or that. I'm just curious because that's kind of something that I struggle with sometimes. And I'm just like, yeah, I get excited about all the opportunities all at once and it's bad.
Yeah. In terms of like, I think you mean like business decisions and not like the direction of your artwork. I don't think I'm very qualified to tell you what you need to express, but I'm happy to, kind of strategize around, to me, it's very like, it's kind of making this stuff, I know artists hate it, but making it sort of in boxes and quantitative, like, okay, you have 3 options and this one makes you money and these other 2 don't. Maybe you should focus on the one that does, if you're worried about making money as a priority. And so, but yeah, honing down that, or, measuring kind of risk and reward and how to spend time on the business side, I think is something I wrestle with every day in my regular job, about where to allocate resources and who to hire and stuff like that. And so, we can, definitely be happy to think through those things with whoever we work with.
It just took me a long time to get to that place, as Louise knows. I'm like constantly just like this way, that way. What do I do? So
Right.
yeah, I'm curious like what kind of support would be
there. Yeah, I could be that way sometimes, where I'm doing 10 things half well and actually not doing anything at all at the end of the day. And so it's good to focus.
Garrett, do you want to take it away? And thanks for your patience too. So sorry I didn't see your guys' hands.
No worries. I have a similar question, a little bit more kind of following in on terms of what Laurie had asked. So that's one of the main concerns I have in terms of like an art practice that can be a bridge to full time, or can sort of like intersects with commodity practices. One of the jokes I always make is that I'm interested in that like Kurt Vonnegut quote when he teaches writing. He tells people that Van Gogh sold 2 paintings in his life, and those were to his brother. So I know there are a lot of artists out there who are not interested in engaging in commodity and intentionally reject that practice. And I think if you're interested in producing culture first and foremost, I think producing commodity in many ways taints or pollutes that practice. That's one of the things I'm concerned with in terms of the jury. How much are you interested in us making work that can sell?
I mean, I would say the purpose of the fellowship is to help people have full-time careers in art, and then I think they can create a lot more culture and art over their lifetime, their careers. And yeah, like Van Gogh sold 2 paintings, and Picasso made millions while he was alive. And so I think there's multiple different approaches to it, but the focus of this is, you know, maybe it means you sell 1 beautiful piece of art each year that cost $200,000. You know, there's different models for how to make money, but the purpose of the fellowship is to create financially self-supporting careers for artists.
Yeah, and just to jump in here, because I know Alex, probably just not being in this world every day, has not as many examples, but is getting to it. But like, you know, whether it's a public art commission or a stipend for the creation of a new body of work, or even you're just getting more success with grant applications for new bodies of work because you have more time, because you have more financial capacity to apply for things to get more success. I don't think it's really about art sales. I think it's about income and how you're raising your income to support your work. So it's not always a stress on you. So, you know, I wouldn't look at it through the limited frame of art sales, because only, you know, so many artists like are successful in a gallery model. As we all have seen, there's a lot of positive impact that happens in communities through the work that art does that has nothing to do with that format. So, yeah, it's a good question. And I mean, unless Alex and Hannah disagree, I think you can think of it more broadly in that sense.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. Like, I'm just interested in, you know, maybe it's by hook or by crook, how can you focus on creating art that is meaningful? And so if it's any way that there's a way forward is acceptable or makes sense to me. That's how I live my life.
And Justin, I like your question. Will there be any more established artists helping mentor those that receive the fellowship? As you know, there is like just an incredible community of different skill sets and artists that you know, we're all connected to. So I think we'd want to work with the fellows to kind of identify, you know, some of the things that they're wanting connection with a mentor like artists for, and then maybe seeing if we can help build that relationship. There's not currently a set of mentors that we are going to force people to work with. So I think we'd more look to see how we could connect you with maybe multiple mentors or peers that could expand aspects of your thinking that you want to expand or that you're considering.
And I would just add, going back for a second to Garrett's question, that you know, I would expect that the fellows that are selected will have produced income one way or another at some point in their artist, just a career prior to this fellowship. And so the approach would more be like, how did that happen? And how can we do more of not like create these widgets so that you can make money online selling like coffee mugs or something. It's to take what's working for you and make it more effective, not to tell you what kind of art to make or, you know, dumb it down or make it sellable at, you know, IKEA or something like that.
Am I missing any other hands that I'm not seeing? Now I have anxiety. It doesn't take me a lot to have it. We'll just note that, obviously, but yeah, if you have any questions, do unmute. Thank you, Adon. Well, cool. If there are not any questions, like I said, we will kind of take the session and not only put it online, what we were able to catch, which thankfully was most of it, but I may have Hannah and Alex re-record a portion of it. And as well as with an FAQ. So please, yeah, please feel free also to send us questions if you want us to, and we'll just add those questions that you have to the FAQ as well, that's available on Redline's website, or we'll have it available on the Greene Fellowship website too.
I think Jono has one more question.
Oh, cool.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for doing this. Yeah, I just, as I prepare my application, I just want to make sure that I focus on the right thing. So it's just presenting my art, and my artist statement is, authentically and strongly as I can, without so much of an emphasis on like what I plan to do with the money or what. Yeah, basically that. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, definitely. And I think in the interview process, we'll probably get more into the details of like, how do you think this will support you? But in the initial application on Submittable, we just want to see like a very clear artist statement and body of work. So you don't have to really go into detail about like the, how this might support you or like, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Right, Alex.
And I actually see there was one question sent to me directly that we didn't cover from Andrew Marcus, which said, if one is multidisciplinary, is it best to apply in one medium? Or if the disciplines are conceptually integrated, can one submit in multiple mediums? And
Oh, yeah.
I would say multiple is fine, unless Hannah or Elise, you think that's, off base.
Yes, and so sorry, I saw you had also sent that to me. So thanks for circling back on that. Yeah, I mean, I think if you are a multidisciplinary artist, it is best to, put together an application that is true to your practice. And I think that just shows a level of, kind of expansiveness that I think we would want to see to know how we could best support your work.
Thank you.
Of course, of course. Well, awesome. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you again, Alex and Hannah, for making this a thing, an amazing thing. Also, disclaimer, we're gonna, obviously learn a lot this first year, and the artists we work with are gonna inform a lot of it because it's a pilot year. So, we look forward to kind of growing the program and it evolving over time, and look forward to working with all of you as we do that. So yeah, thank you all for signing in tonight, and yeah, I hope to see you all soon.
And thank you, Louise. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thanks, Elise, for all your work.
I'm gonna awkwardly stay on the Zoom so I can copy and paste the chat, so just so everyone knows. I'm not leaving.
Bye, everybody. Good luck.